hardly do that no more. You can stay at church all day. I love church.
Even over here at church at 8 o'clock every night. And guess what? We would leave there and go to, I used to have it down pat. 9 o'clock service, the 10 o'clock service, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock was first church. We gonna be there to see that choir march. While I teach the choir. 7th grade. That's how I remember him.
Wow.
And also, Hello Sunshine. I don't know what was going on. I didn't know you all had recorded. But Jesse rushed me in the studio and made me record. You remember?
That was a big fight.
All right, what's going on, Gospel Diaries? Listen, I am still in the amazing city of Chicago, and if you look over here to my left, my God, this is a warrior. He's been on the battlefield for quite some time now, and we're talking about none other than the doctor, the right reverend, Mr. Richard Jackson. It's an honor to be sitting in your presence.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you're
I'm
welcome.
humble. I am so humble. I am, seriously.
So look, before we get into our dialogue, would you please do me a favor and subscribe to this channel? Trust me, it's content from my heart to yours. Now, Dr. Jackson, I think I'm changing the format a bit of Gospel Diaries, and I like to give this introduction because people say Gospel Diaries, so I might as well put emphasis on the word diary.
Diaries, okay.
You know, we share so much in our diaries, you know, and when we reflect on the things that we shared in our diaries, we find strength and opportunity to delve in your gospel diary, man. Because I want these stories that are hidden from history to be there where people can draw inspiration from the story. So, you ready?
Yes, sir.
So you recorded with the famed pastor, Reverend Maceo Woods, right?
I did.
You were a member of R.D. Hinton's church, Apostle Auntie Monument.
Correct.
And so many other things you have done.
How I got my start and how Pastor Maceo Woods saw me, and then I got there. It was actually, I was singing at Greater Harvest Baptist Church under the late, great Louis Body.
You must be. Can't pay your way in here. No. You can't false shout it in. You can't false talk it in. No, it won't work like that.
So I started in the young choir as under his wife, Sylvia Body, who was our sugar choir. Then from there, I went to the immediate group where I watched great leaders like Alex Bradford come through Greater Harvest. Robert Anderson came through Greater Harvest. Gloria Griffin came through Greater Harvest. And all of these were great singers while I was sitting in the audience as a child looking at them. And so about 14 or 15, they had taught me how to direct and how to lead the choir. And so Pastor Maceo Woods was coming through, and I saw my background talent.
Okay.
So he sort of coached me, and then my parents gave me okay to leave Greater Harvest to go at Christian Tabernacle. So I served there for the next 20 years. When I went there, I was like 19. So I stayed there for about 20 years while I learned how to serve under Pastor Woods, singing with the great late George Sykes, Melvin Smothers, George Jordan. Gloria Griffin had come back, and she was now a member there. So that's how I started singing right there. And in that ministry, up under that, I think I've done about 12 or 13 songs. So I was just blessed to do that. Pastor was he would just bless, he would just write, rearrange, or find songs that fit my voice and my range. And then I was just honored because he would always play for me, along with George Sykes. He would always be the main player because he knew that I would be a lazy singer. Had he not been one of those that knew how to push a singer. Sometimes we have people that all they need is just a little gospel push to know that their own range or
Right.
what their capabilities are and what they are not. And that's how when he would play, and he played with such a hard drive, I couldn't get lazy and I couldn't stop as long as he was playing. So we had to. That's how I learned, and that's how I learned and became a singer up under Pastor Maceo L. Woods.
Wow. And you know, of course, we're gonna talk about him a lot, but I just like take a moment to just in silence to pay homage to the spirit of Reverend Maceo Woods. Thank God for
Absolutely.
the spirit.
Absolutely.
Your guide in the light. Step to Jesus. All your battles He will help you fight. Step to Jesus. He'll make everything alright. And if you feel you can't go on, pray and the Lord will make you strong. A heart fixer is He. There is nothing He does not see. Satan pronounced his doom. In my life, for him there's no room. Step to Jesus. Step to Jesus. Step to Jesus. He'll make everything alright. If you feel you can't go on, pray and the Lord will make you strong. A heart fixer is He. There is nothing He does not see. Satan pronounced his doom. In my life, for him there's no room. Oh, yes. Come on, step to Jesus. Step to Jesus. Step to Jesus. He'll make everything alright. Oh, yes. All you gotta do is step to Jesus.
And matter of fact, you know, Maceo Woods was one of the primitive organists, you know, that actually kind of was the prototype for this gospel sound as it relates to the organ, because, you know, the organ really came into fruition like late 40s, Hammond, like in the church. Of course, you had it around, but in the church, introduced by First Church of Deliverance and Kenneth Morris.
Definitely.
But, you know, it's just amazing that you were able to actually witness him play the organ, because I've always wanted to actually, you know, see him in person and play the organ. So I think that's pretty cool.
And that's how the church actually came into being. He used that gift and that talent to travel the world, to raise his funds, to start the church that the Lord called him to start. And it wasn't that easy, because, you know, many people always feel like, well, all the singers, they're going to eventually go to the next step is a pastor. So he had to go through that too. But we were there. Yeah. And the Lord blessed us to become one of the world's renowned choirs.
Oh, yes.
Along with many, many others also. But we were in the number.
Oh, yeah. Still is in the number. But let's let's go back to your childhood, okay?
Okay.
So as far as church culture, as a child, what did that really mean to your household, in your household?
Well, my mom was a singer in the choir.
Okay.
At Great Harvest.
Okay.
My mom was an alto who could do contralto.
Okay.
And if she pushed her, she could do second soprano.
All right.
So, you know, I kind of got some of my musical range from her.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So that's why, and whenever she would go to rehearsals or church, there were 6 of us. So the first 3 of her children, because we were older, we had to go with her.
Okay.
So myself and my 2 sisters, and then we would all learn how to sing in the different choirs. because we had to be there while she was in rehearsal. So we learned all the songs sitting out in the audience, and that's how we learned too.
Okay. Now, as a child, what were the popular churches in Chicago, around Chicago?
Well, we had Omega.
Okay.
Sister
Elsa.
We definitely had Christ Tabernacle.
Okay.
On the south side, we had True Light.
Paxson?
Yes.
Okay.
At that time, True Light actually is a cause of Pastor Woods jumping off to the degree that he did, because he went there as that minister of music.
Right.
Sykes sang there for years.
Okay.
Then Melvin, and I think
Willie,
wasn't Jesse there also? I think so. Jesse was there.
Now this is before Pastor Woods went to Hyde Park, right?
It could have been.
Okay.
It could have been. But then he also became the ministry of music there also.
At Hyde Park.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what do you remember?
I was not there then.
but do you remember Pastor Beatty though?
I do.
You do?
I do, but I don't remember him enough to really talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, so much happened there. You know, Larry Beasley said he was there. So many people was at Hyde Park.
But that was a great place for singers, for gospel singers, because he had a maybe like a 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock broadcast time. Well, by that time, everybody was out of church between 4 and ready and 7, so then you could run right there.
Oh.
It was a 24/7.
Really? Did you bring a lunch with you on Sundays?
We ate at Greater Harvest.
Oh, really? So they had
Greater Harvest always had a soul food kitchen.
Really?
Always.
Really?
Always.
Oh my Lord!
Always.
So they give you food for your soul and food for your belly.
Absolutely, because they know you're gonna be there all day. In fact, Greater Harvest still does that. They still have a soul food kitchen.
All right, let's take the time to give a shout out to Pastor Eric Thomas.
Yes,
who's carrying on the legacy of Greater Harvest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we salute you.
12 to 6 in the morning, and this have been a place of healing, deliverance, fond memories.
The countdown is nearly complete for a church that struck a chord in many hearts.
It's the flavor, the sound. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain sound that you get in here.
And if it hadn't have been a Reverend Lewis body, it wouldn't have been a Greater Harvest.
Pastor Tom.
Influential people as it relates to music for you growing up.
Well, one of the guys that come to my mind, and I call him Dad sometimes, and that's Professor Robert E. Wooten.
Really?
Yes. He taught me how to direct, how to keep a beat, how to do a beat. Wanted to teach me how to play the piano, but I was just too young and crazy to know of the gift that he was, going to teach me. I wanted to just play baseball or just have fun out in the streets because I knew that he was a hard teacher and he wasn't going to play. You're going to get your lesson. Oh, he's not going to do it, but he's one of the ones that did that's heavy in my life like that. Naturally, Pastor Hinton had a brother who played the organ.
The one that just passed?
Right, Vernal.
Okay.
Vernal was a talented musician who before Pastor Hinton became a pastor, Vernal played at Ebenezer.
Ebenezer on Vincent?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Well, see, that's where real gospel jumped up. Ebenezer. And so that's where the hymns and things like that Vernell played, that's how they loved it, because he could play that.
Wow.
He could play.
The Gospel Diaries overseas, and there's some elements, you can be puzzled. It's just like, people trying to read your thoughts, and they really can't read your thoughts. But I want to put emphasis or give a little backstory on Robert Wooten. Now, the Wooten Choral Ensemble were a choral that was birthed out of the Beth Eden Church.
Correct.
Matter of fact, Pastor Meeks was actually the pastor of the church at one time. But I said that to say,
but not when it, not,
no,
but
no,
not,
no, right,
not
no, yeah, not there. I was
Right.
just putting that in there. But the significant thing about Beth Eden in the 20s, you had Arizona Drain, which is credited for the first gospel record. But there was another group called the Jubilee Singers, the Henry Pace Jubilee Singers, and Pace actually was a member of Beth Eden as well. So we're talking about some of the artistry or people that was involved in black music in the church before gospel music when we're talking about the name Robert Wooten. Okay, I just wanted you to.
And Beth Eden didn't really do gospel.
No, they did spirituals, anthems,
yes, spirituals,
yes.
that level,
Yes.
and they did it exceptionally well.
Oh, well, I'm having fun with you. Look at you. Going down memory lane.
He's trying to make this old man remember stuff.
Let's go to your glory days at Christian Tabernacle.
Okay.
Give us some memories about Christian Tabernacle.
Well, as a teenager, our excitement was singing.
Okay.
Our excitement. Well, we couldn't sing with Pastor Williams because he was a strict person. He was a strict pastor who was learning to be a pastor. Mm-hmm. So he was just strict. Mm-hmm. If you wasn't on time, if you wasn't in your place where you're supposed to be on time, mm-hmm. you don't sing. Mm-hmm. You didn't make the rehearsal, you don't sing. Mm-hmm. And he had a strict dress code, and he did all of that because he didn't want his church people to think of his church mm-hmm. as just being something that was just coming about so he could make a nickel off of being a pastor when he stopped singing. Gotcha. So we had he was a hard taskmaster mm-hmm. as becoming a pastor, but we all learned to sing, and we actually started out with just 13 singers, and there was no choir in the first year of his ministry. There was no choir. Not the second year. The second year he had an ensemble, which was Doris Sykes, Pearl McCombs, okay. Gene Borden, who was a real good friend of Albertina Walker. Mm. He had a couple other people, Lawrence Esther. So, and then the next year, then he began to form the choir. Mm. And so he had like maybe 4 sopranos, 4 altos, 4 tenors, maybe 3 bass. Mm-hmm. Albert Meadows was on the piano. And he had the organ. Mm-hmm. That was it. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Wow. Something just came to mind. So, pre-gospel music, the liturgy of Protestant churches over here in America, our liturgy, we were really accustomed to European structure. You know what I mean? Like the European church. So, like, when they did hymns, they lacked syncopation, and you think of movies like with Mahalia Jackson and St. Louis Blues with Nat King, mm-hmm. and when she kind of make the tempo, make the syncopation, they like, what is going on? What are you doing?
Well, Mahalia was going to sing her way anyway, but however she felt. Anyway.
Right. But I'm alluding to the point that Christian Tabernacle is the epitome of how they actually just classify or just put sophisticated what was already there, but because there's so much structure in that choir, you know what I mean? But they still have syncopation and have rhythm, but it's not that gut-wrenching gospel music that we know of from like quartets.
And that was
the dove come in. That kind of singing is praise for the devil, not
purposely. Mm-hmm. That was purposely right. mm-hmm. constructed. That mm-hmm. was purposely. Mm-hmm. We're going to sing gospel, but we're not going to rock.
Come on.
We're not going to clap. And we are going to dress a certain particular way. And we're going to do it with class, with a whole lot of class.
Okay.
So that's how we start.
Love it. I just wanted, I think that is magnificent. You all are the epitome of what, a lot of the mainline Protestant churches, this is probably how they were acting before, the 30s, because 30s, they didn't just all of a sudden have a choir singing. No, because you even heard Magnolia Lewis Butts at People's Church, Pastor Perry, Metropolitan, that was singing, Dorsey's and things of that sort. But I think that is just remarkable. All right.
That's how we did. That's how we did. And honestly, Pastor Woods was the first person to raise gospel ticket prices from $1 to $5 to $10. And he brought in Mahalia, and he brought in James Cleveland to DuSable High School with the choir. And then from that part on, then he started bringing in, artists. Different great artists, recording artists.
So let me ask you this. So how were you, so you joined Christian Tabernacle, this was in early 60s, right?
Correct.
So were there how did you all restrain this? Tell us the spirit. Like, were you all allowed to get emotional or like dance and talk about that? Because I see it really settled. You know what I mean?
Basically, that was not us.
Really?
We were like in a training mode.
Okay.
Because he didn't want that to be like we were there just to be shouting and running around.
Right.
So his thought was he's going to teach the word like elementary class.
Okay.
And then keep bumping us up. Like we were actually in school taking the class, and each class would bump us up a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. No, we didn't do that like that. But ain't nothing wrong with it, but we didn't. That wasn't how he chose to go.
And then people still gravitated to it. You know what I mean?
Because many people were hearing great pastors, and they could preach. And Moses went around here, and then they did, but the people. It wasn't relating. It wasn't related into their spirit, into their heart, and it couldn't go over into their lifestyle. So Pastor Woods decided to do an ABC.
Yes. Okay.
And so from ABC, everybody that came through, we had doctors, lawyers, everybody that came through, they came through because of ABC lessons that they could pick up on, read up on, and then move up on. That's how he became famous as a leader, as a teacher.
Right.
Just teaching basic gospel truths.
But and what's amazing is that is evidence in the song selection. Like "Hello Sunshine," that is not a gospel song.
It wasn't.
But the message, you know what I'm saying? Like so many songs that you all recorded, it was the message that really, I think that captivated the hearts of.
But you had to teach us and the people that because it's dark today doesn't mean it's going to be dark always. And when you do see light, what's the first thing you'll say? Oh, hello, and that's why we would come from. Or I'm so grateful. We took those songs because, and we took our personal experiences and then what we were going through, and then we can relate to the songs.
And it makes me think about the song that you recorded by my good friend, written by Dr. Henry Jackson, Just Being Alive. And when you think about those words, it falls right in line with the teaching of...
Absolutely.
Sometimes we get so pressured down with the cares of life that we forget that just being alive, we got so much to live for.
Yeah. And then just to see how well kept you are. You know, those types of words, you know, make us appreciate the songs.
Wow. Man, I could talk to you forever. God knows, but I got to move on. But I just want to put this here. How I fell in love with you. I think I've told you this a million times. This was back when I was doing my TV show as a teenager. I was probably like 17. I interviewed Pastor Philip Sneed.
Okay.
And I asked him for some footage because I wanted, you know, put it on the interview, you know, some intermissions. And lo and behold, he sent me the concert that you and Pastor Edgar Aaron had MC'd at Apostle R.D. Hinton's church.
Monument.
And just, you're a great orator. And I'm listening to you. I'm like, man, this man is so calm. He's so cool. But like what he's saying is just reaching my heart. I'm like, who is this man?
You know, that's a gift from God. But also, I learned under Pastor Maceo Woods.
Really?
I did, because he could talk like that, and he could. That's how he would preach. He could talk like that. Then he would throw some chicken and dumplings on you, but it's all ground up. So it was like baby food, you know, but it was still nourishing. So I did learn. Those are the type of things that even as the Lord led me from Christian Tabernacle, because right there I had gotten as much as God wanted me to get, and then the Lord dealt with me to go up under Apostle R.D. Hinton.
Let's talk about your time there.
Church, I want to be a follower of Christ. I want to be one of his disciples. I want to walk in the newness of life. A follower of Christ. What do I have to do? What do I have to say? How do I have to walk each and every day? Thank God. Tell me what does it cost if I carry the Lord's cross? Let me be a follower of Christ. What do I have to do? What do I have to say? Thank God. How do I have to walk? Thank you, Jesus, each and every day. Tell me what does it cost if I carry the Lord's cross? I don't mind. Let me be a follower of Christ. Church, I want to be a follower. Yes, I do. I want to be one of his disciples. Thank God. Hallelujah, I do. I want to walk in the newness of life. Oh, yes, I do.
All right, Gospel Diaries, that is part 1. I pray that you enjoyed. So stay tuned, because there's some more great dialogue that's going to be shared. Now, if you would like a copy of one of the magazines, the Gospel Music Gazette, the information is in the description, the caption. And also, too, you can make a donation if you want to support us. And remember, as I always say, love on someone and you will change your life. See y'all later.